Hi, my name is Manu Gambier, and I will be answering a series of interview questions for a position as a storyboard artist. So, the first question is describe your creative process. What are the major steps for a project in your particular area of expertise? So, as a board artist, it mostly depends on what type of project you're working on. It could either be script driven, such as Gravity Falls or Avatar: The Last Airbender, which the board artists are already given their scripts with sequences, shots, layout already put out for them. Or it could be board driven, such as Steven Universe or Big City Greens, in which storyboard artists start with no script. They develop the series and well the episode themselves, and they allow the art to drive the show. And as a storyboard artist personally, I mostly work a little bit of an in between. Most of my boards start off as little thumbnails of on post-it notes where I just start doodling, start coming up with ideas, and from those thumbnails, I lay out 10 to 15 panels. And from there, those panels slowly start developing, start slowly fleshing out. And once I start thinking this will work or this may not, and change it up a bit, once I have those 10 to 15 panels already good to go, I start fleshing out in between those panels the story, the sequences, certain shots, camera movements, all that stuff until I have a finalized piece. And mostly this takes me 4 to 5 weeks, as most shows sometimes work on a 5 to 6 week per 11-minute episode. So I try to stay in between that time frame just to practice on mostly working on loose gestures, revisions, cleaning up, and all that good little niche stuff. Alrighty. The second question is, please explain your approach to meet tight deadlines. Tell me about a time you completed great work under pressure. So I will, we're all human, but for me, I get distracted very easily sometimes. I mostly try to work with the Pomodoro technique, in which you work 25 minutes and then you take a 5 minute break, just so I don't overwork myself, but I also give myself an adequate break, just get myself off the screen, walk around, um, eat something, drink water. And I usually try to do that for most of my work, whether it be academic or just work. One of the times that I actually completed work under great pressure, and I actually used this technique really well, was actually for an illustration class. We had around five, I'm assuming, I don't remember if it's 4 to 5 weeks, but it was around that time frame in which we had to complete a piece for a New York Times article. And halfway through to the deadline, I felt completely uninspired with the piece that I was working on. I don't want to say I didn't have any motivation, but from the current work I had, I felt I couldn't add anything more to improve upon it. And I spoke to my professor. I was just like, hey, listen, this piece, the one that I'm showing you right now, I don't think I can finish it. Not only do I not feel inspired to finish it, but I don't feel I'm not feeling it anymore to be able to complete it. And the professor was just like, if you can't restart it, just be aware you will not be getting an extension. The deadline is the deadline. I still want to see some progress of how you're picking up the new idea that you have, and make sure to stay within the time frames that we have laid out for the weeklies, um like showcasing for the critiques. And I did that. uh Even though it was, I had half of the amount of time that most students had for the entire project, I started it from scratch, and I am so thankful that I did, because from the piece that I left behind towards the piece that I submitted, it is night and day. Honestly, I couldn't see myself finishing that last piece, but the piece that I submitted was totally worth it. And even the professor, after I submitted it, they were just like, yeah, you did the right call, even though you only gave yourself less than 2.5 weeks. So yeah, totally worth it. Uh, and I fully believe that made me grow as an artist because working under that pressure, but realizing that you can improve upon your art is so necessary sometimes. Um, and the last question is walk me through your portfolio. Which pieces are you most proud of and why? What makes you good fit for a storyboarding job? So my even though on my portfolio I'm applying for a storyboard position, I have different niches such as character design, a little bit of viz dep, and it's mostly because of how my storyboard portion of my portfolio is broken up. Some of my storyboards are mostly just ideas that I had that were just like, this could be funny, or this would pretty be a good action sequence that I thought of. I need to put this on a document, on a script. And I just sat down, fleshed it out, and just drew it out. And the second half of my portfolio, which is a big portion of my portfolio, is a personal project that is called Spirit Guides. I started working on it after I graduated high school. I started making some character designs, and I just thought this is a pretty cool idea. What if I were to like flesh it out? And I at the like right after I graduated high school and I started working on it, I had to stop because university was catching up to me. A lot of classes, I had to put responsibilities such as schoolwork and my job um, as a priority, and I put that little pet project aside. And right when pandemic hit, in that little limbo of learning how to use Zoom, not having to go that frequently into my job anymore, I was looking through my art files, and I found parts of the Spirit Guides parts just sitting there, and I was thinking I have time now to flesh this out. And that's what I did. I started fleshing out characters, stories that these characters would go on. And eventually, those drawings, I started writing them down on a Word document. And I actually started writing out like ideas, a little script, some funny lines that I could work out for the characters. And eventually, I sat down on Storyboard Pro and I was just like, okay, I've got the ideas right here. What if I were just to draw them out? And that's what I did. I slowly started fleshing out the personality of the characters, their backstories, how certain characters appeared. And slowly now my storyboards are from how these characters met, how they became friends, how they met this character who's doesn't have a memory of their own, and the adventures that they go on. And even though the the story itself isn't finished, I fully hope to be able to just draw everything out as a storyboard and just go along from there until I reach an ending. Um, but it's been a very fun project to work on uh, in the storyboard type sequence. Most of them are actually based off musical numbers. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Working with musicals for what I have written down actually helped me a lot as an artist, just understanding layout, certain frames, how to really flesh out a sequence. And I personally hope that my storyboards, if viewed, convey that. And hopefully a person can enjoy just watching these characters just go around and going on their adventures. And yeah, that's those are my interview questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. Uh, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this interview and have a great day.